WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Connor James. After 6 months of searching, the family of Savannah Spurlock now has answers. Kentucky State Police announced remains found last night at a Garrett County home are that of the Richmond mother. Early this morning, police arrested David Sparks. Investigators say his family owns the property where Spurlock's remains were found. Our cameras were there as he walked into jail. He was arraigned this afternoon on charges of tampering with evidence and abuse of a corpse. Tonight, state police say they still have a lot of questions to answer. Angela Reingard has our top story at 11.
As a result of the autopsy, we can now confirm that the remains are those of Savannah Spurlock.
After 6 months, a heartbreaking crack in the case of the missing Richmond mother.
Our sobs of pain and physical anguish are met with moments of our beautiful memories of the vibrant and vivacious person she was.
Savannah Spurlock's aunt taking to social media now that they have some answers.
As hard as the last 6 months have been, the truth of what happened that night in January is going to be even more painful.
Our cameras were there as police arrested David Sparks early Thursday morning. We learned it was here on this property his family owns in Garrett County where police found Spurlock's remains. This after the homeowner called their attorney saying they smelled something. Her remains were buried along with some evidence, though we don't know what exactly that evidence is. Police had searched this home before.
There are still many questions. For one, we still don't know how Savannah died and why her remains are turning up now.
Trying to determine when the body may have been placed there.
In a news conference, state police explained there's still a lot of investigating to do. As of now, Sparks only faces abuse of a corpse and tampering with evidence charges.
Based upon her location, where she was located, we felt that the abuse of the corpse and tampering with physical evidence was a charge that we could, actually charge him with this morning.
It's important to note there are no charges against the other 2 men Spurlock was seen leaving that Lexington bar with back in January.
We pray that justice will be served by anyone involved.
They fought a very public fight. Now this family is looking for privacy as they enter this new stage of grief.
Savannah, we love you so much. Rest in heaven.
Reporting in Richmond, Angela Reingard, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, police say it's not known if Sparks will face additional charges. He will be back in court on Monday for a preliminary hearing. For months, we've told you stories of the efforts to bring Savannah home to her family. From signs and rewards to search parties and tip boxes, the community has worked to find justice for her family. Now, Good Samaritans say they are heartbroken, but glad there is an end to the worrying and waiting.
You know, the whole story just touched me from day one, and I just never got away from it.
Now that Spurlock's remains have been found, those who knew her now wait for justice. Another meeting took place today in Hazard, as it is for workers of Black Jewel and Sykes who find themselves without a job. Black Jewel workers are in a hard place because they have had their checks not cleared for 3 weeks. Now workers are left wondering where to go from here and wishing this whole thing would have been handled differently.
The biggest problems with their payroll that they had received had bounced. Probably if that payroll wouldn't have bounced, that these miners probably would have been a little more lenient and tried to work with the company. But when you catch your paycheck and they bring it back away from you, it's pretty bad.
If you have any questions about any of the available help or options for Black Jewel miners, contact your local judge executive's office. And miners met Harlan County Fiscal Court employees to fill out forms and try to get their money that they are owed from Black Jewel. Harlan County officials say they are helping miners fill out 410 forms to help get the wages that they have not received. Miners say they are sticking together to fight for the money that Black Jewel owes them. Now to an update to a story we first told you about at the beginning of this month. Kentucky State Police say a former Knox County magistrate is now in custody. This man, Jerry Rabbit Cox, turned himself over to the custody of the DEA earlier today. Cox faces federal drug charges for 6 counts of distribution of hydrocodone, which allegedly happened while he was a sitting magistrate. He could face up to 20 years behind bars if convicted. And officials have released the identity of a woman killed in a single vehicle accident in Perry County earlier today. The victim is 61-year-old Frankie Crawford of Hazard. The crash happened on Old Highway 80 in the curve near Couchtown Road. No other passengers were involved in the collision.
Hopefully, through our investigations, we'll hopefully be able to find a little bit more out maybe what caused the accident.
Makes you think, you know, that could happen. I mean, it could happen to anybody.
Officers suspect wet road conditions could have caused Crawford to hydroplane though the crash is still under investigation. And we could be a week away from the start of a special session in Frankfort to tackle rising pension costs, but lawmakers will have a new proposal to consider. Today, Kentucky Democrats announced their own plan to help the state's pension crisis. The proposals are coming in two different bills drafted by first-term reps Buddy Wheatley and Joe Gravis. They say their plans are faster, cheaper, and stand on much stronger legal ground.
The inviolable contract is not broken. People's retirement future is secure. The quasis get the rate relief that they have got to have.
The governor's office has said they do not have enough vote commitments to pass their bill. Lawmakers say they've been told a possible start date for the special session is July 19th.
Well, it definitely was a stormy Thursday here in the mountains, but at least we had that beautiful sunset to make up for the storms. You'll notice, as we take a look up into, Tammy took this picture in Letcher County of the beautiful sunset, just absolutely gorgeous this evening. There's the line of showers and storms that moved through a little bit ago as that cold front continues to push through the mountains, but at least those rain chances are finally out. So now as we scan the skies, now you'll notice that we're dealing with those mostly clear skies. We're also dealing with none of those rain chances. Finally a break from the rain after just a soggy day. Temperatures into the upper 60s to lower 70s, so finally just a little bit cooler out there. You'll notice still warm out west, showing an 80 over into parts of Louisville. Even compared to this time yesterday, seeing a nice little cool off. So at least that rain did bring us a cool off throughout the day. That cold front moves through and will be a little bit cooler tomorrow, but we'll still hang on to that heat and humidity, of course. The sunshine returns pretty quickly as we head into your Friday. Your weekend forecast is looking pretty good as well. Warmer temperatures return, and we're also going to talk about Tropical Storm Barry and how that could impact us here in the mountains. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes. Connor.
All right, thank you, Paige. Almost 50 years since the Apollo 11 landed on the moon, and the Eastern Kentucky Science Center has started celebrating the upcoming anniversary with moon rocks. WYMT's Emily Bennett stopped by the Science Center to see their exhibit.
A historic anniversary.
Man on the moon, a walk on the moon.
July 20th will mark 50 years since Apollo 11 landed on the moon.
It was very emotional for me. I remember tears running down my face.
Steve Russo, the director of the Science Center, is making sure the anniversary is remembered.
It really had a big impact on me and kind of reassured me as to what I wanted to do at the time.
The Science Center has an exhibit called Mini Inspired Steps, showing the history behind the mission. And there is a special video shown in the planetarium. Russo even has his own personal keepsakes in a showcase.
It shows what you can do when you put your mindset to something that really, from the get-go, is an impossible task.
But the real attraction are the moon rocks.
It is such a surreal moment. You never think that you would actually have the opportunity to have something that far away in your hands, but we did.
Russo wants kids to learn from the hard work that went into the Apollo mission.
I try to portray to the kids that, you know, if you've got a goal, do it. I was 5 years old, said I wanted to do this. I've been doing this for 47 years now. You got goals, set them, go for them regardless of anything.
And what will Russo be doing on July 20th?
Kind of look up at that moon and not going to believe it was 50 years ago. It happened live.
A day he will never forget. In Floyd County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
The Eastern Kentucky Science Center will have an exhibit available through July 20th. On the evening of July 18th at 6, they will have another showing of the Apollo story in the planetarium. Well, mission groups from across the region contributed to the 12th annual Shoes of Hope event in Pike County today. The event was hosted at Elkhorn City Baptist Church, offering free shoes to kids in the community. And while the shoes are part of the mission, those in charge say they are more concerned with spreading the gospel of Jesus. Director Sharon Dees says it is one way for SCORE International Ministries to give back to a community it has grown to love.
I think what that says to the community is that we value you and we value the relationships that we have here. Pike County is like second home to many of us, even though, of course, we're not from here, but we are so grateful to be able to come and serve.
Groups joined from North Carolina and Ohio, helping give shoes to 178 kids. Well, have you ever dreamed of being on Top Chef or owning your own restaurant? Well, today at the Superstar Chef Cooking Camp in Clay County, participants learned how to cook like pros. This 3-day camp not only taught them how to cook, but educated them on nutrition and food groups. They perfected their chopping and kneading skills in the kitchen while making healthier alternatives to their favorite snacks and dishes.
I think when kids are that young, that's when they absorb all of their knowledge and things as they're growing. So I think it's the biggest impact to really start young, teaching them healthier ways to eat and how to cook as they grow and kind of develop.
On the menu today was a whole wheat veggie pizza, fiesta dip, and carrot muffins. Well, coming up at 11, the South buckles down as a tropical storm approaches. We'll take you there.
And that cold front has moved through, which means more sunshine returns for your Friday. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up.
You don't